I want to get to the Veterans Affairs Minister right now, Ginette Petitpas, who's standing by near the National War Memorial. Minister Petitpas, it's really good to see you. Tell me what's going through your mind on a day like today.
Today is a very important day for all Canadians, Omar, to really thank the members of the Canadian Armed Forces and our veterans for their service and sacrifice over the years. And it always warms my heart when I come here and to see the thousands of people that gather, and also not only gather today, but really to stop and think and to thank the men and women that have served our country so bravely.
Minister, there was a recent report done by the National Institute of Aging, and I believe the stat is about 55% of the veterans are, or two-thirds, I should say, are 55 years and older. So obviously it is a population that is aging. I know there have been significant strides that have been made, but still some gaps remain. And a couple of their recommendations were that there should be a national strategy on aging for veterans and also caregivers to make sure that they've got adequate supports that they need to be able to take care of the men and women who are returning home. To what extent is the government addressing those two issues?
Well, it's a very important issue that I have to say first and foremost, because as you've indicated, we do have a population of aging veterans, baby boomers as well. And as such, the department really has to look at ways to better support these individuals. We also recognize that many veterans, aging veterans, want to stay at home as long as possible. So our VIP type of programs and putting in place the additional services to ensure that they can stay at home as long as possible. Those conversations, that work is underway, but is certainly an area that I am seized with as Minister of Veterans Affairs.
As we look at these pictures now coming in live from Ottawa, we see the various generations that have come together to pause, to honor, and to reflect. And when you consider the fact, Minister, that the average age of a Second World War veteran is 96 years old, a lot of these children are getting further and further removed from history. How do we keep it alive beyond November 11th?
Well, it's an important question, and I think work that we have to continue to do. It's really important to ensure that we engage our youth and to remember that it's not just about Remembrance Day. It's remembering the sacrifice that men and women have done, and we have to recognize them and commemorate them each and every day of the year. Last year, or this year actually, I was in France in Normandy for the 80th anniversary of D-Day, and on that event, we had 300 youth from New Brunswick that were there. And these youth were there because they actually studied the North Shore Regiment. And when they got to Normandy and in France, they were able to kind of go over the journey that these men went through. So again, when they go back home, they become great ambassadors and they will continue to tell those stories. I can go on and on about the types of events that are going on across the country to make sure that we have our youth engaged, and I think we have to do even more. This week I took part in some events as well in Vancouver as well as in Halifax for the No Stone Left Alone event, and we had 10,000 children across the country that took part in that. But these are dedicated teachers and volunteers that have organized these types of events. So Veterans Affairs Canada has to do its share part when it comes to commemoration. But I think as Canadians, we all have a role to play in making sure that these stories are never forgotten.
Minister, before I let you go, I do want to ask you the same question that I asked the Chief of the Defence Staff, except I know you and your government are responsible for the budget. Maybe not you yourself as Veterans Affairs Minister, but certainly it is, a cabinet decision and a government decision. We are dealing with multiple conflicts in the world right now, and Canada has faced a lot of criticism for not pulling its weight internationally. Donald Trump, who will become president in January, has criticized this country for not meeting its 2% of GDP target, which is a target that NATO has set. That level will not be reached until 2032. Given the complexity of the world right now, given the conflicts in the world right now, are there any plans to accelerate that spending so that target is reached sooner or more quickly?
Well, I think Minister Blair and our government has been very clear that the 2% target will be met. We have released our plan earlier this year, myself and Minister Blair. And again, we certainly want to make sure that our men and women in the Canadian Armed Forces have the support that they need domestically, but also we will continue to make the investments that are needed for our international allies as well.
Minister Petitpas, I really appreciate your time this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you.